We are preparing to have a clinic up in Evanston that Jim Planless is going to run. And I have started recording.
Hello? Hey. Looks like Caleb's on now.
Being recorded,
Is your
Jim.
microphone on? How about now? There. Kevin was standing too close to me. Okay, we'll be recording that one. Oh, there we go.
Jim, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I got the meeting times all screwed up. I thought it was 1 for the board meeting and 2 for the clinic. Oops.
Sorry.
I was half asleep when I looked at the email.
Well, you're here
This
for the
morning,
best part.
And I saw 1 o'clock. I'm like, oh, good. We had a fireworks show last night, and I'm still trying to get. So I'm still in Salt Lake. I'll be up late this afternoon, but yeah, what a crappy day.
Okay, we have Well, Frank was on earlier. He's not back on. Who else are we missing from earlier?
We're missing Michael.
Yeah, Michael. I don't know if he's going to get back on. Blaine, I think, had something else.
And Rex.
Yeah, but he never got on this morning. Okay. What time is it? The one? Got the
One.
one. Should we get started? Wait another minute.
Start when you're ready. The recording is turned on.
Okay, you are recording now?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks everyone for joining this meeting. Hey, there's Frank now. And I'm going to just discuss briefly how I got started, and then we'll talk to a couple other of the guys that are here. I can run a train, and we have other trains that are running right now. So let's see. How do I put this like that, right? There. Okay, so this is my module right here. I have two sets of modules. So this is the Freemo standard. This I could take to anyone else that's running Freemo and connect it up, which is pretty cool. So we have one guy's from Colorado, and then the other guys here are from Utah. Right here, this is called what's it called? Anyway, it's joined from my module to someone else's. And then there's a certain standard there where you have 2 inches of a fitter rail, and then the train just goes right across that. Now, intra modules, your own module connected to your own module, you're free to connect them different ways. So I have several tracks here, and I have a 3D printed thing that's underneath the ties, has some brass screws that go into the wood, and then the rails are soldered to those screws. I've shared those pictures before on Facebook and other places, but it makes for the really smooth transition, and they're sturdy. They don't move. This one right here doesn't have that 3D printed board, but it's got some PC ties in here, and so they're pretty sturdy. And I have a rail joiner if I want. I can slide it in, but I don't need to because it is a smooth connection. Here we have a train coming right through. So even though it's my module, I'm sharing the main line. I have the main line on my module, and everyone has a main line. As that's going by, you can see, well, I've got this little mini yard right here with a whole bunch of trains, narrow gauge and standard gauge. Over here, that's my pickle salting station. You may recognize from the articles about the AP, and it was won an award at the national convention. Over on this side is a Timesaver, and I had a Timesaver for the Scouts that was just blank, but I wanted one that showed purpose, even though it's a game. So here you can see there's an unloading platform there. Over here, eventually, it will have a little model looks similar to that. And this track will have some sort of another unloading area. And then down here we have stockyard and a passenger depot there. So there's a reason for all of those spurs to make it more than just a game or to decorate the game. On this side, I decided I'm going to do an Inglenoook, but it's a dual gauge Inglenoook. So you can do standard only, narrow only, or you can mix narrow and standard. And so it's more complex, but it doesn't have to be that complex. But the cars get in the way of each other. And on this end, you can see there's a little lead that goes for both sizes. Right here where the ballast changes color, I can't go further than this point, otherwise I'll foul the main. And cars are always going down the main. But I can look down the line and see if someone's coming or not, if I need to get to the other side, for example. But this car, we've seen some pictures before, has 2 couplers. So it can do narrow and standard on this side. But it can't push up this rail because it can't go on the narrow gauge track. But I've got a little narrow gauge engine on this side that can pull them. So anyway, what got me into this was the idea of doing a module to connect to a huge module. And you can see all these other modules here, and we'll go around and look at them in more detail, but in my basement, I can fit this one and work on them and add more detail and add scenery. I've been having fun doing scenery, which I haven't done very much of. And here comes Ken's train. Say hi, Ken.
Hi, kid.
So, and we'll show Ken's modules were saved from the dump, as it were. They were headed to be destroyed, and they were saved, and he said he'll take them over and rework them and add some details. The improvements he's done are already make it look much better in just a very short time. So I like that aspect of I can work on this. I can run the Timesaver or the Inglenoook at home without setting it up on anyone else's layout, but I love running long trains. In a little bit, you can see I've got one of these trains in this yard here, and we'll run it. Where did, we'll make its way down here. Let's go this way. And a few minutes ago, this yard was full. We couldn't fit any more trains, but now there's, oops, my train's creaking. But now those trains are out on the line. This is Mike McIntyre's module. He worked on it as part of the Walders contest. You might have seen emails about that recently. And this building is lit using, I think, an Arduino. And he can control it with his phone, the different lights that come on. They're not on now, but this backlight can come on separately than some of the interior lights. It's an old paper structure. This is very creative. He's done a lot in a little bit of space. And with this, in addition to some cars that aren't on here, they're out on the road going around, he's earned his golden spike. So when anyone ever says, I don't have any room to do model trains, this is the perfect example. It's a little tiny module, and he's done a lot on it. Okay, this is Dave from Colorado, his modules. What's really nice here is he's got a passing siding, so you can have a really long train, and you can have meets. There's also a spur. So we're going to catch up with Mike. Do you have a second, Mike? You can talk to us? 2 scale feet? There he goes. So he's in the siding there so other trains can pass him, which one just did. Okay, tell us about this setup a little bit.
Well, this setup is a Primo setup. Utah Primo's been around for over 20 years. We can't get this much space at any more public shows, and so we've got with a couple of other people, a couple of other groups, and we just started setting up these private setups. We set up here 12, 15 years ago for the Roundhouse Festival, and a couple of us got talking. Why we need to see what this place costs us. So I think this is our 5th or 6th year. We just rented the space and come up here and enjoyed the atmosphere. It's kind of cool to see the one-to-ones roll by, and we just have a lot of space. It's, you know, we have to share the rent. We have to, it's a pay-to-play event, what we call it. So everybody here is paying their share of the rent. So it's just a really, really fun setup. But it's nice to build to the standards. It's nice. We've had people from Canada, Kansas, Nebraska, California, several places, Idaho, the state of Washington, be able to bring their modules when they come up here. If they're built to a standard, you just talk to them a little bit either on the phone or by an email, and they set up side by side and everything just runs perfectly. So it's terrible to just set this stuff up once a year, but still, it's kind of like the deer hunt. People spend a lot of money to go bang a buck, and you know, so this is my deer hunt now. So anyway, that's about all I've got.
Nice, thank you.
No problem.
So here's your train here. These are your modules going this way, correct?
Yeah, these are my modules. This is modeled after a siding down by Green River called Sphinx. It's a 45-degree long siding. This is I made it into a 90-degree, just before you get to the freeway heading south towards Green River.
All right. And then you've got a brand new one, right? The grassy area?
Yeah, it's all grassy. It's kind of modeled after the grassy siding, the grassy creek bridge that burned down. It's not the prototypical bridge, but I couldn't find that. So.
And then is the loop?
The loop's mine too.
Okay.
It's modeled after Soldier Summit. If you look at Soldier Summit, there's a 5-track main through it, and there's a Y in it. They're just kind of reconfigured for what we're doing here. So that's basically the prototype for that is Soldier Summit.
Okay, thank you.
But then I added the power plant, so there's a little bit of power.
Okay, yeah, that's a new thing. Let's go down here and I'll show you. So this is the grassy area we were just talking about. And this is a control panel to control other switches on the loop. There's this plant. This is the new section right here. It comes off. The physical table separates. So he's been able to add that so that he can have a little bit more real estate. And this loop, this entire loop right here, is in sections. They break off and stack in these racks. He's got a couple of those racks that stack up in his trailer. Okay, let's head back this way. We're gonna go talk to Kevin real quick. This is Kevin's scale. Fremont. That's like Jamaican, Fremont. So tell us, Kevin, a little bit about your layout. Now, I will say first off, he's built 2 modules, and another guy was going to be up here that had 7 more, so they could have run a long layout. Come up.
This one here is modeled after the Old West, about 1870s. So we've got a Indian buffalo hunt. We got the town of Tumbleweed and Tumbleweed Mountain. We do have a small Indian village, cavalry unit going to go mess with the Indian village, and prospectors. Nice little sighting. Going to 1800s.
And then this module.
This module, welcome to 1944. This is modeled after Wendover. You got the Wendover Air Base, Army Air Base. The Enola Gay was stationed at one time. The air base was a training base for bomber crews, B-17, B-24s. They did have a few P-47 pilots at one time. On this side, we've got Wendover, Utah, with the Western Pacific Depot, and then West Wendover, Nevada.
All right. One question that came up recently was, even doing, like, not meeting together physically at our monthly meetings, how can we still be engaged and interact with each other? And I think these Zoom meetings are really good. They're clinics that, people ask questions. We'll have a question and answer at the end. And there's some interaction that way. But what about doing AP stuff? So can we see your board real quick? Kevin's been working on his civil, and he finished, has a finished HO layout at home. And so really he doesn't need to add any more track, but for the AP award, he does need to work on it. And so these are examples. There's this very first one he did, and then he did these other 2. So the first day we were up here, I gave him pointers, and we need to widen this a little bit. The track gauge didn't quite go through. The train clunked its way through, different things to help him improve. He made those improvements, and then we're going to sign him off on it this afternoon. So you can still do AP things. He's also given us some paperwork on some of these structures. And so we haven't gone over all of that yet. Later today or maybe tomorrow we'll do some of that. But even though we can't meet together, we can schedule meetings. We can have small groups get together. So if you have something for the AP that you want to pass off, let me know, and we'll try to make arrangements. I know he's anxious for us to pass off some of these structures, but in the meantime, he's still working on stuff. And as I said, okay, thanks, Kevin. And as I said with Mike McIntyre, he was able to get his golden spike up here. Okay, I'm heading over to Ron. You can. You're on video, so they'll not catch anything from you. What are you working on over here?
I'm just setting up a DCC programming track real quick, but then I'm working on modules over in the corner.
Okay, so he's got some modules. Let's show you. Yeah, this is a good thing. We'll show you kind of how they started as.
So these are made out of a 3/4 inch plywood. Important to get good square edges here, and you clamp them all together. I got some legs over there in the corner made out of conduit, and put 4 legs in each one, and you have your basic module.
And he's got a lot of cork.
Yeah, I'm modeling the IPP coal car maintenance facility in Springville, so it'll be
And I used
compressed a little bit.
I used this on one of my yards, so that's
Yeah.
a perfect idea.
It's kind of a miniature yard is what it is.
Yeah.
And I'll bolt all 4 of these modules together rather than clamp them. I'll clamp at either end, and in the middle I'll bolt them together so I can get them precisely.
Nice. Yeah.
positioned.
So that's part of what I was talking about earlier, the intra module. So your own modules you can bolt together, but when you go to someone else's, you clamp it. And right about there was a little spur on one of the ones we walked by. And if he had been a little bit further along, we would have connected to that and he could work on it at the show. Or at the meet.
Well, and who knows? I might still finish it between today and tomorrow.
Yeah,
We'll see.
we might still connect it up.
Forever the opposite.
But in the meantime, he's, like you said, he's working on some other projects and he came up and helped set things up. And so even though it wasn't perfect or finished, he's still got lots to do. Thanks.
Thanks, Jim.
Dave, say hello to our division.
My division.
So tell us about your modules. You've got cores and a couple others right here.
Well, down there I've got a 2-to-1 that's what we call Deuce Tango, which is a 1-to-2, I should say. And it's fully signaled and detected for MSS.
Oh, yeah, where the flashing is?
Yeah, where the flashing lights are at. We got a UP supervisor.
So he's got this, it's a signal, so it goes from the one, so it goes, splits can go into the yard there. Okay.
And then the next one I have is the Coors distributor module.
I'm going to go under and on your side. A little more on this.
So that's modeled after a facility in Mexico. I'm having a little brain lock. Anyway, it's loosely modeled after a New Mexico Coors distributorship. So I took a little modeler's license and included a Coors Brewing Company switcher this weekend for the setup. So
Nice.
so we can trundle beer cars back and forth from the yard. So that's kind of that. I actually work for Molson Coors at the Golden Brewery. So I kind of wanted to include is what I call somewhere out west or south for sure. It's based off of Palisade, Nevada, on the Mount UP, but was SP and WP. So I kind of built that and went out on a ledge and put a tunnel on it.
And it works perfect. My camera car just cleared the bridge and it cleared the tunnel.
Yeah, notched the tunnel for containers.
Oh, yeah. And then up here, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, I put in a tower with a flashing light. That's a East Coast electronics circuit. So when you cover a sensor there near you, it'll strobe red at night. So when we night run, it'll switch over from a flashing light to a pulsing red, which is kind of cool. So then I put a sodium vapor light in the yard to kind of light it up. So the next module set is a big siding, which I loosely base off of a Rio Grande siding in Utah. Any number of them. So I just signaled it, and it's kind of a freelance module. I just wanted to give it the prototype look of a grand siding or a passing siding. I was in the middle of having a little problem. My power has decided to fix me. So fix that anyway. This is a four module set. It was a 3 module set years ago, and I built this one that the locomotives are on currently last to make it a full 90. So it's a little more useful. It's a nice long passing siding. So
So we keep it busy. And then I've got a small rip track maintenance to the way siding that I put on it, just for me to actually have some place to build trains at a big setup and not be in the yard all the time. So. Yeah, that I like how long that is. When I build up my train, I have to do it in the yard, but you have the option to do it right here.
Yeah, so it works out nicely that way.
I really like this.
Yeah, the maintenance of the way ramp is actually modeled after a friend of mine who's from South Dakota sent me a drawing of one that's up there in one of the small towns, and I kind of modeled this one after that. So with the ties and the rail, and I used foam. I just carved it all out of foam and then scenic it. It was a fun project.
Nice.
There's actually a module down here that Adam Easton, who was kind of the father of UTI, I've got little plates on that to say in memory of Adam.
Memory of him. Okay, we'll go look at that right now. Okay, thanks, Dave.
Thank you. It's not got all the trees and detail on it. I usually put it. I got lazy this year. But this one we've had custom face plates built.
Oh, yeah.
We call it US 89 because it sort of looks like, when I get the deckway on it, it sort of looks like those bridges outside of Springville.
Yeah.
The Art Deco bridges.
And so one thing that's interesting is we have the yard that's set up, and then this is Dave's module, the signaling module. Then this is the one that we were just talking about. Then Mike, and then Dave again. So even though he brought multiple modules, they don't all have to be set up together, except where they're the 4 units, they have to be put together. What time is it, Mike?
It is 1:25.
Okay. We have we were joking that there was only one mic in the free mill group, or we went down to one. Now there's 2 mics in the free mill group. And I said, well, there's 2 mics on the board too. And so we got a lot of mics in the division. Speaking of, here's our other mic. So this is the division right now. He's getting ready to put out some more trains.
I'm putting them away now.
We're putting them away now. You already ran them.
Yep.
So I was similar in the fact that I had my modules fit in my back seat real nice, and then I thought, oh, wait a second, I've got a lot of trains I'm going to run, and so my trunk filled up really fast.
Doesn't take long.
Doesn't take long, is right. This is one thing that is pretty exciting. Dave, if I bring a train down, am I clear to, are you out of the way? Okay. I'm going to run a train down. Maybe I'll get in the siding down there. Hang on. I can hear that. I have to reacquire it, I think. There we go. It's not going to be, not stuffing. But Kevin's helping me out here. Why is that doing that? Because I'm being recorded, that's why. It's supposed to push, the horn's supposed to go when you turn it on, not off. Stand by, technical difficulties. Doesn't have. You want to hold it the whole time. It's still going. I'm off the track. Okay, show them how. Can you hear that down there? A couple of those cars have sound cards in them. You won't stop. You want to turn it back?
It crept into the cutout, sort of blowout out too. No, I haven't.
If I hold down the.
The F18 will mute it, but
No, it's supposed to be. So the other option is to bring the other.
that's got people out. So that's what I had somebody do last year, was run around the track to test the track for rough spots and dead spots. And we had to keep live circulating. So,
They're ready to get the.
couple of rough.
I want to get this one going now.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Okay, let's. There. Maybe this will work. The thing I like about the yard is, long trains can pass. We had the yard full and we had someone pass on the outside, which normally doesn't happen, but it was so full that.
These sometimes even four, depending on how busy it is. We need to hire Steve Daly needs to be up there running the yard.
He'll be up this afternoon, he said. I just stopped it and it's still coming back on. It was 14. It's like that's the end right here.
Other things, other buttons are.
Still going. Okay, what I'm going to do is the second option. I've got another train already in the yard. Up to another. Let's see. Like someone's blocking the ladder. It's me. So let me get down here.
Gee, I wonder who's blocking the ladder.
Yeah. Okay, what I was starting to say anyway is that these cars, even though they're really long, run on my home layout. I can only run about 8 of them. On this one, I had 18. So let's go down there. There. That's the same one. From earlier. Once we get out of the yard, there's usually no issues. Okay, let me see. Does anyone have any questions while we watch this one go around? If you do, unmute your mic. Otherwise, we can just enjoy watching the train. One thing that's cool, hey, Lou's on. It's like you're on stage. One thing I like is you're going around and you come on there, there's a loop, and you come back through, but the next time you don't come through the scenery, you keep going around there, and there's another loop over there, and then you come back around. It's a long time before you get back to another section of the same track, and it's not just going around and around and around in a circle. That's how my home layout is, and I enjoy that, but this is just a different experience. This is part of the track we were on earlier, what Mike was talking about. And you can see a lot of his cars are weathered pretty nicely. So besides working on the layout, you can look on weather cars. So I've got some of these cars weathered and some are fresh out of the shop. I even have a car all of you should recognize on here. A Division And the 50th anniversary car. Okay, gotta
Jim,
watch make sure the turnouts are thrown right.
Jim, I'm going to turn off the recording. You can continue as long as you want, but I have to leave.
Okay, are you done? Okay, I'll show the rest of the lap.